released. All right, guys, welcome back to another session with Sal Cosentino. In this course, okay, guys, welcome back. We'll be talking about. My name is Sal Cosentino. I'm your trainer for this course, and within this specific uh, course, we're going to be talking about product called SCCM. And again, this is used to be called SCCM, and like formally, and then now called MECM. Um, Again, the history, it's been around for quite a long time. When we talk about the history and stuff, and again, it was released back in 1994, along with Windows NT Server 3.5, and that initial release targeted the management of the MS-DOS, Windows for Workgroups, and Macintosh, and also Windows NT. Um, Within that specific time frame, it also was also released not too long after. I know it was released in November, from November to December 94 to July 1995. Server 1.1 was released in that 1995 period, and that was just to help customers migrate to uh, Windows 95. And again, the timeline basically, moves on from 1.0 to 2.0 to 2003 to 2007, and so forth. Just give me 1 second. So, all right, guys, welcome back. When we talk about the history, we talk about the different server managers, which was released. 1.0 was released in 1994. Along with the Windows NT Server 3.5. Again, it's just target a lot of the management of MS-DOS, Windows for Workgroup, and NT Macintosh. That later went on to 1.1, which helped migrate customers to 95, and then in 96 with 1.2, with the new remote control, the SMNP inventory and network capabilities. And that was back in July of 96. With 2002, 2003, 2007 releases, they preceded right after. So again, if we look at the introducing the different versions of SCCM and 1511, and I know 1511 was 2511. That's 2015 and the 11th month, which is November. And 2007, 2012, it was just one released version. There were multiple versions released within those 2 years. So from 2007, it stayed until 2012. And then from 2012, it stayed till 2015. Right? If we go to our administration tab, we have our different hotfixes and rollups. Those are also different releases for those updates, right? Based on the version and hotfix rollup. We can look at the different general information below for fixed issues in that KB number. So that specific K number for that 2003 hotfix rollup is was released on the 16th of November, as you can see, which is almost 2 or 3 weeks ago. And we also have a features tab there at the bottom. Doesn't have a lot of information, but again, we kind of understand now that the different versions of introduced, and again, in the year of 2015, SCCM and MECM came out with a version 15, 11, and they used the month and year for that build number. So they would use 15 would be our year, and then 11 would be November, which is the 11th month of the year, right? Um, Now we also talk about in the year of 2016 and so forth, moving forward in the timeline, they introduced three versions of SCCM. So they had SCCM 2000, 1602, they had SCCM 1606, and then they had SCCM 1610, right? And each month again is the year and the month. So in this case, it would be 2016 February, 2016 June, and 2016 October. Right, and we also look at the different versions with the significant changes, supports, and servicing options that came along with it, and it supported for those specific SCCM, Systems Center Configuration Manager, and its new Windows servicing options. Right? And again, the further back you go with the improved stability and so forth, that also help with those specific versions. So every other year it would work. So we also have updates and servicing. We talk about the supported versions and the historical versions. I'm going to post this site for you on our site. I want you guys to take a look at that, and we'll talk about the different supported versions and whatnot. We also talk about our I'll go ahead and post that link for you. And that'll also be in our YouTube notes below so that you guys are able to do that. So again, SCCM was introduced. Right? So that was also known as SCCM 2007. And it's not 2007, the month and year would be well, if we look at the timeline, obviously it'll tell us the month and year, but this one was in the seventh month of 2007, or sorry, 2007, the whole year. Right. And when we go back to the SMS, which is the older versions, again, of the 1.0 and 2.0 and so forth, it's similar to, um, well, if we look at the side-to-side comparison, we look at the actual systems management server for SMS, and we look at our MECM version, right? We see the different left on the left pane, the different nodes that are available there, in terms of for site database and site hierarchy, assets and compliance, and device collections and monitoring software library, applications, application groups, packages. So we see the different packages for user state migration tools and for Windows. Right? And we also look at our community, right, for advertisements. If there were advertisements, we would find it there. If not, it's not available. So I can also do a search for it. Right? Look for advertisements. And checking the inventory software. Just loading. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just reconnecting to my MCM. Or different device collections for code management, unknown computers, systems, and so forth, different deployments and custom client settings that are available for there. Those are also available there. Different queries for monitoring, similar, again, very similar, different site names, site codes, site configuration, security settings, and administration tab. Okay, and I'm gonna give you guys the link there for that training link kit for Microsoft Systems Management Server 2.0. Oh, sorry about that. I'm just going to repost that again, okay? Okay, and now we're going to talk about updates and servicing in our administration node. So I'm going to open up my MECM primary site, and we are going to talk about the configuration manager notifications. As you can see, there was a new site update available. If we click on that, update your site, the different notifications are available. I highly stress that you read all of them and click on the more info and, you know, try to resolve those issues or copy text, snooze, dismiss. You can dismiss and snooze those as per day, hour, week, et cetera, et cetera. Um, you know, try not to avoid these. These are important. Again, we've published a hotfix addressing a critical issue. So if you click on the more info button, right, from the updates and services tab, right, you'll see that specific hotfix, right? And then if I go to the more infos tab, it's going to open up the securities page, CVE number. I'm just going to open up the page. Stand by. All right, and that opens up the release dates for that specific configuration manager 2403. So as you can see, the article number and the download for that security update and build that it needs it for. So that CVE number and the articles are there for those builds. All right, that's a good read for you guys. And the CVE numbers are attached. So once we click on that link, again, we talked about it. The So we talked about the notifications area or MECM notifications. We are going to talk about, we discussed important links for the notification area, right? So do not ignore that. The notifications. Okay, so that's important for you guys to note. Make this a little bit bigger. And there's a link for that. Fix this up for you guys. Okay. So take a picture of that for you guys and add it to our notes. You guys also do the same thing. Yours might be slightly different than mine. Just make note of it. Again, it might be slightly different than mine, right? So just make sure that you guys are following along with your consoles and you guys are taking um, note of the issues and notifications that are coming up. Again, not all notifications are important, but it's good to read up on them and try to resolve them as needed, right? So this notifications area or addresses a critical security issue. Um, so this hot fix um, should be applied to all site server roles of configuration manager. So it should be applied to all site server roles, right, in the configuration manager. And again, those are some of the links that I've noted for that specific hotfix published, right? And I'm going to highlight the do not ignore the notifications. It's very important, and I want you to read the um, more info links uh, and update your site links, right, as well, which are more important, right? They're very important. So don't ignore them. Read the more info links and update your site links. So let's install new site update, which is available. Here. So I'm going to talk about my infrastructure. You can do it in the cloud or on premises again, but we're going to our own infrastructure, and this one is just a on premises for now, using Workstation Pro, or again, it could be in the cloud using Azure or Oracle Cloud infrastructure. So it's up to you how you want to build it. Typically on premises is okay, but it's totally up to you. You have your domain, primary site server, your client, and your database. Again, depending on the space, it doesn't have to be separate machines. You can have separate machines. It's totally up to you, but depending on how you want to build it and go from there. So when we look at the design and architecture, as you can see, the three different design architectures, we have our standalone primary site with secondary and CAS with primary site or secondary. Again, in this instance, we have our secondary site and primary site, which is Quebec and Quebec City or Montreal. Our secondary site, we have our boundaries, our memberships of boundaries or site codes and our distribution points. Um, for each BG, we create 4 boundaries in this picture and need to group them together. So in order for us to group them together, we could create 3 boundary groups and assign them to sites or 2 distribution points, right? So that's important to note. Um, we have our site system and feature rules. Right, let me grab my pen here and so I can kind of draw that out for you. So we have our CAS and primary site, right? Which is our secondary database replicates to the primary database, obviously. We have 3 primary sites, known as PS1, PS2, and PS3, or primary site 1, primary site 2, and primary site 3. As you can see, you know, we have each site should have its site code, 3-digit, and each site should also have management points attached to it. There should be 10 management points that can be created to one primary site. I think I spoke about that in earlier videos, and 1 management point that can be created in a secondary site, right? So client machines for day-to-day communication, like day-to-day work, like inventory management, software distribution is one we would use it. It must talk to their management point. But what management point? Again, when we're looking at the picture, we have our different assignments of site servers and site codes to note those management points. And how does it know? Well, it creates boundaries and boundary groups, right? So we created those boundary groups and tell it that anything under that specific IP address goes to that site. And that way it goes to the management point within a particular site, right? So all the computers in a site will communicate to that site to get to the policy and contents, right? So how will it do that? Right. So right now we're using a standalone site. We can also use a primary site with a secondary site. So in earlier videos, I've created those as well too. And cast sites, obviously, for bigger sites, those are optional sites if there's more than one primary site. So we're not gonna be using it in this instance. And again, it has a maximum of 825,000 client machines, right? So this is more of a mandatory primary site. So we're gonna be using our primary site um, against with secondary site. Again, those are optional sites. In my course, I can create one with you guys. Um, but again, this video is not for that. Um, there are also some general sizing guidelines that we want to understand. Um, I'm going to zoom in here for you guys and take a look at the different, for example, in this desktop client, 25,000, we have set roles as primary cast with database site role on the same server, right? Um, we have 6 cores, 24 GB of memory, right? So that's the route we're going to be following, right? So we want to make sure that we have that specific space. Our SQL Server memory should have about 65%. Our IOPS input outputs per second inbox should be 600 per second, right? And our server, SQL Server, should have our input outputs per second of 1700. Our storage space we would need would be in gigabytes, 350. So, and then, have these numbers um, set, right? And make sure that we have these available resources on our hardware. We don't have 6 cores, but we can add 6 cores. Our laptops have 8 cores, so we can use 4 cores. Just make sure that if you need the cores, shut off those machines that are needed. But remember, our Active Directory and machine or domain controller and our MECM primary state service should always be on. So when we talk about general sizing guidelines and MECM, um, right, we're going to talk about. We've already talked about that. I'm going to give you guys this link to take a look at the site's size of performance guidelines, right? And when you're going ahead and designing those sites. So there's the link for you guys. Okay. And Okay, so all right, so going back to our notifications area, um, we've gone ahead and talked about the notifications and how to address the critical security issues. We're now going to update our site for hotfix and hotfix roles. We just need to click on it, and right, and that should automatically bring us to our update and servicing area, right? So just clicking on it, even if we close the notifications and it's not clickable right now, we'll also be talking about features and console extensions in this video. And as you can see, the service is not available, and we'll uh, go ahead and troubleshoot that later. And as you can see, the retry installation or our prerequisite warnings is at the top, and ready to install state, right, for that specific roll up that was released the 4th of November. It's not clickable now, so I'd have to close the notifications. See if we can close the notifications area and try again. Just give it 1 second. Wait 1 sec. So I'm just going to change an area, and then that area is going to go ahead and give me 1 second. Okay, so the different hot fixes. We talk about the retry installation area up there at the top toolbar for those specific hotfix and hotfix rollups. It'll tell us our state. So this one, our prereqs, we can retry the installation or ignore the prerequisite warnings. If there are any prerequisite warnings, so as you can see, it'll talk about the pop-up here will talk about the updates. We can click on refreshing it, and this will bring us to our DMP downloader log. So that log there, once created, if I can do a quick access search, if it lets me, I might have to reset this machine. It's just very boggy today. We can obviously go into our C program files or this PC. And within our this PC, I'll show you guys just in a second. It looks like it's not really picking up. Give me 1 sec. Try to troubleshoot this. So yeah, it's not working. I might have to just restart this machine. So looking back, try one more time. Refresh. Nothing. Okay, so if I go to my local disk C, and I go to my program files folder, click on it, and then I will go to my Microsoft Configuration Manager folder and our logs folder. Within our logs folder, we're going to scroll down to our DMP downloader log, right? And again, we should open this in CM Trace, right? So again, this will tell us more information about the sync process, right? So I'm going to take a snapshot of this and put this in our notes. Right. and take the link as well too for you guys. I'll put that in our notes too. Okay. I'll paste this information for you guys. So that's that. We can view that DMP downloader log and the log location, the log location for DMP downloader dot log is location, obviously the location. Gonna paste that there, okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and take the log path, the little folder path. There we go. I'm gonna copy that, Control A, pen, cut, and paste. And alternatively, again, I can go to the properties and copy it from there. But again, just remember when we're reading those sites, those logs we're using, by default, it'll open up in Notepad, but you can go ahead and download the CM Trace folder, the CM Trace tool, right? Or open it. If you have the DVD or the ISO image, you can also find that CM Trace tool in the ISO file. That's in our CD DVD, and again, that CM Trace tool reads logs, and rather than using Notepad, which is much more feasible when it comes time to reading those logs. And different information and threads and time and dates and components for those logs. So it is important. So as we read them, we look at each line. So the executive, which is our service, started the SMSDP downloader as thread ID, right? And gave us the hexadecimal number. Then it'll tell us that it connects to our message downloader, logging level set to 1, then it logging level set to 1, then that'll be set to our registry value 1, and then our log messages is set to false. Right, well, it could be a registry edit, and then we also have warnings. Our acknowledgement retry counters are set to 3 and 5. Our warnings are enabled to register key software, and I'll show you where that location is. And RegEdit, and the error could not read the MP FDM inbox for state message, incoming high priority, and failed to initialize error code invalid pointer, and it'll exit and then start it again. So something happened there. It didn't read it yet. I guess it didn't load yet in time. So okay, so I'm opening up the registry editor. Within there, we're just going to locate the software Microsoft SMS path. So I'm just going to look for the SMS path. So scroll down. There you go. There's SMS. Crack that open. And we'll go to the MPFDM folder, right? Let's click on that. Then inboxes, right? And this is the location where we'll have all the important registry files that have created and registry key files that have been created within that location, right? So that's also important to know why I can't read the inbox for the state message, state system incoming high priority, which is available in that folder. And you'll see the incoming high priority, right? You'll see those incoming state boxes, low, high, right? Incoming, which is also kind of available there for you. So if we were to click on, I'll make this a little bit bigger. So if we were to click on one of the available, that's the data, that's the path for the data path. So that's the actual registry key is the path data, the where it's located, right? So it's connected to that. That registry setting is connected to the path, right? So it states that it can't open that specific um, path as it hasn't been created yet, right? So if we were to search for that path, um, in those specific dot box, um, right? Doesn't have too much, but I'm gonna go ahead and Google. Sorry, I'm gonna not Google. I'm gonna check my notes, my older notes, to see if I can get you some better information for you and kind of describe how everything works and how it doesn't work. Um, might get some different information from that. There you go. So when we look at the log files again, we're doing a search, but again, if I do in my notes again, that DMP log file is just a log file that and the MECM uses to track and record activities that's related to our DMS. So our DMS is our data migration service. Right? And that DMS is just responsible for managing the and distribution of the content from the cloud to on premises. So it just handles the downloading and synchronization of the hardware updates and patches and other content. So it's pretty straightforward in terms of its key functions and how the content is downloaded. It's downloaded from the update servers to the CCM site servers, and then for in terms of the um, content management, it ensures that the content is downloaded correctly and made available for distribution to those client machines. So it does have a little bit of a role in its play. It also handles errors and logic retries, and it also deals with the logging and reporting um, of those activities. So it is important for that. Checks updates from the update.microsoft.com. Does tells us the attempting and service shutdowns. So again, it is vital for ensuring that those updates are and other necessary contents are available for deployment um, within our MECM environment. So we can automate the download and management of updates, which as administrators, because as administrators, it helps maintain our infrastructure with manual intervention, right? So why not? And automating is quicker in terms of specific issues and whatnot. So going back to the DMP downloader, again, our services are looks like our services were started there 3 months ago. Uh, so I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, so that registry there is created based on the path of the data, right? And it's created with dot box file, right? And again, a box file um, is just uh, y- just moving data. All right, so we can move data like config information, status messages. And I'll put this in our notes too as well. Um, you know, content for like packages uh, between those components within SCCM, right? So if it does uh, facilitate uh, communication within the hierarchy and also the sync of data. So just make note of that as well. There are again job processes, right? That when these files are jobs or tasks, right? That's how they're really represented. When they're processed by those components within SCCM. So it's also good to note again the location and what the box file is, right? So it's just a file based com system that SCCM, sorry, MECM uses to transfer data between those components, right? So I'll make note of that for you guys in the notes, and I'll give you guys some information on that as well too, right? So there's different common directories, like we saw before in the registry keys. There's our inboxes and outboxes, right? With those specific files. So for example, you have a auth/ddm dot box, which is meant for like discovering data manager tasks, right? So again, all within our DMP downloader log and what that is. So I want to explain what the DMP downloader log is, and I'll send you that information separately, guys. Is a log file that that MECM uses to track and record activities related to DMS, right? So we spoke about DMS before, and what DMS is, our data migration state. So again, this downloads update packages from Microsoft vendor site. So it comes from the Microsoft vendor site. So it's a legit site. So this is where those download update packages are coming from, right? Let's fix that. Change the spelling to that. Okay. And I'll send you some of that information about data migration services, and also talk to you guys about the dot box and what that dot box is, because it may seem confusing, but it isn't. Okay, so and it's meant for troubleshooting issues related to downloading updates. Like certain updates would be software updates, security patches, and other. What I mean by other, like content from the MUS. So the MUS is our Microsoft Update Server. Sorry, guys, give me a sec. So going back to the RegEdit, right? We're looking at these specific files from the inbox, like you know, our different auth business process. I can give you some information on that a little bit later. But again, it looks like the error code with error message, invalid pointer. Um, Obviously, it'll resolve that issue, and then we'll go down. But again, I'm not gonna go through the whole log. Just kind of make yourself aware of how it's used and when it's last time used was and what those logs are for, because that is important for your service initialization, update checks, download requests, completions, progress, error handling, attempting to retry, and whatever service downloads are available, right? Okay, and so post that there. Take a picture of that for you guys. Make this a little bit bigger. Check the font size for you guys so you guys can see that. And that's our registry editor. Regist registry editor location, and that's the location path, right? And then the keys are also in there. Those are the registry keys. Um, and I'm going to highlight and draw. It works. Red. Just highlight that usage part there so I don't you guys know what you're seeing. In terms of the log that we just wrote, again, you need to download the CMTrace tool to read those logs. I'm going to take the error code just a little bit bigger. Again, if you click on it, I can copy and paste the errors there. So in that case, I can copy the error and research the error. So as you can see, going back to the services and updates, uh, read the state of it, and no, I want you guys. I don't know. I want you guys. I'm gonna do an assignment there. I want you guys to um, research the following error code, right? And in the DMP log download log dot log. Sorry, and I'm gonna paste that there. I want you guys to take and then kind of explain to me in your own words in a Microsoft document or PDF or you know wherever or Notepad or whatever you guys want to use, and tell me why this is happening. Um, I want you guys to do this for yourself. I want you guys to create a machine and test this yourselves and see why this is happening. Um, you know, I want you guys to help research this and learn, right? That way you're not really confused about what's happening. And I know you guys are following along. And again, even if you have it at work, like research it, use your work uh, to kind of consult to see where it happened, what's happening. And again, download the CMA Trace tool to read those logs if you don't like reading Notepad because it does get confusing at times, right? Paste that there. Just gonna remove that section. Point, and then copy, highlight and copy, and just delete that line. Okay, so that's an assignment for you guys to take a look at. I want you guys to do that on your own time. I appreciate everybody who does do that. There's the last poll time. Uh, Anything that I need will be in this log. Okay, there you go. There's your redirected the downloads. I'll take the downloads there. And that was done back in September, right? And there's your messages there. Your value data is the path, right? And we can modify those values and move those data values if we need to, right? So it all depends on what needs to be done. You can create backups of those folders too, and you just try to right. There's little boxes, box folders, right? And each box, like I stated before, is different in terms of what it does and what it doesn't do, right? Like as a job or a role. So for example, why the sender dot box is just data that needs to be sent to other sites and servers, right? Then we have sorry, our desk pooler box, right? Or our WSync manager box. Our desk pooler box is for incoming data. Our offer inf dot box is our offer information, our information dot box file that's related to advertisement and deployments, right? So that's what that is. And you could do research on that too as well, and kind of, but I'll give you some links on that, which will probably help you with understanding what each folder is, or file folder is. Again, we can check these contents within these box directories, right? To see if there's like a problematic file or just something that's unprocessed, right? Especially when you're reading those logs. Um, might be something that happened there. And we can investigate those bad folders, right? And we can inspect those directories. So just make note of that if we need to troubleshoot in that aspect of it. So some very important information for you guys to read up on, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and you know give you guys some information there in the notes after we go. So the they are they are critical for diagnosing and resolving issues related to our update download, and that's what the DMP downloader log is in MECM. And again, as administrators, we can identify where the process is falling or failing and take appropriate action and correct them. Right? So as administrators, we can identify the processes, right? Where the process is failing and take appropriate actions and then correct them, right? So that's important to know those specific updates that we're talking about and how we as administrators can identify them and where those processes are failing and so forth. As you can see, the hotfix and rollup error, you know, we'll use that for log to troubleshoot that. So it's important to know what that does and how it works and what folders are important. I'm sure we can. Second. And two. Yeah. All right, so the hot fix and roll ups. I'm gonna give you guys those links, the AK.ms KB numbers. Those are also good to read. Um, I'll give you those supersede and hotfix ones, KBs. Those are also good for information. Again, we use the related objects tab, show status. This will give us the information of its work and how it's, or the status of it. So we can take a look at the different statuses based on the icon, which is green, which means good. Retry installation. If there's any errors or project wigs, we can change those columns if we'd like and remove them however we want based on the specific site server names. And we can take a look at the warnings that came along with those hotfixes, right, and show the status. Right? And then we can take a look at um, the path that it took in order to complete it with its time, description, status, name, and what's going on and why it's failed. So again, that one was completed with warning, right? And that site database has a backlog of an SQL change tracking database. So we can see the error code for that tracking retention that's been caused, that performance issue that caused by the tracking retention, right? Period. And we can take a look at that by clicking on the link. So as you can see, our installation is in progress on the 18th, but hasn't really moved yet. We'll have to troubleshoot that together to see if we can get that working again. Um, based on our monitoring. It could be our site system rules weren't updated. Again, it's been a while since I've been in this console. Our site system and roles might not all be there or may need to be added or mandatory optional roles that are part of that. Um, so if we look at that, we know what the error is. Looks like the installation is in progress. Some of these errors can also be ignored. Okay, so just make sure you have your information before moving forward with that. Um, yeah, yeah, I'm just gonna copy and paste that, like the hotfix documentation for our 2403 version that we have, not 2409. So that's a 2403. Um, that'll give us some known issues that happened in between those dates, right? So um, it's also good to know that as well too. So I'm going to give you guys the link on that, and you guys can read up on that. Take that link. And there's another link. Post that. Part of our lab. I want you guys to read up on this stuff as it's important for our next topics. Okay. These are summaries. Okay, so that's our update pack installation. Again, we can show status, right? And that'll take us to our monitoring, right? And that'll give us the status of the installation in detail and tell us whether or not it's been completed, started, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're now looking at our HMAN log, right? Okay, that's our log file. We're gonna open that file. And again, like I showed you guys earlier on, you can read these files and take a look at the different error codes and resolve them one by one and read them one by one and take in all that information to see what that does and why it's there. So it's always good to troubleshoot and go above and beyond when he's reading these logs, not just opening them up and not understanding the thing. So take them step by step. Using the learned documentation is also a form of troubleshooting. Just make sure you have our configuration manager tracing log tool, which is your CM trace tool for logs and instead of Notepad. Yeah. So the HMAN log seems like they failed to get that Active Directory information. Could be just the polling time in our could be the polling time maybe that it happened at that specific time and date. Uh, so it didn't synchronize our, I'll show you here. It didn't synchronize our replicate our discovery methods. So just the polling time that was enabled, right? Or just something was wrong with the database at the time and it just needed a restart. So that's why you're seeing that error. Again, you can take those errors and troubleshoot them um, as needed. Okay, back to the monitoring. So I'm going to put in monitoring, or sorry, updates and service logs, servicing logs. And I'm just going to give you guys that path. So that's where our monitoring section is. And that will monitor our updates and servicing statuses. All right. All right, we can also use the HMAN log, like I said before, for those specific hotfixes and rollups. Okay. Okay, so right click again. I should be able to download them. Just refresh. I can check the history for the updates and servicing. I can install it once the install button is not grayed out and is available for this version. No, okay, so I should be able to install it, but it looks like it's not allowing me to grayed out. Okay, so those are the options that are available. Not a big deal. Just probably taking some time. It probably needs a couple of reboots. But again, in production environment, you don't want to take down a server through the days, right? So looking for your discovery methods. Yeah, those are the discovery methods that we talked about just a couple of minutes ago. And I'm looking for the site and system roles. I always get that confused. It should be in the administrations area, I think. Think intelligence. Just have to remember. Software library, no. Application, software library, operations, Windows servicing. So that's okay. Monitoring. Sorry, guys, my apologies. It's been a while since I saw it, but we're looking for the site system and roles. It's should be administration. Hold on, guys, give me one sec. I don't know. So I'm gonna try looking at the services. I want to turn on the services. Sometimes, obviously having those services are important. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on this site backup. So again, site backup is it shouldn't doesn't have to be on. Um, Turn on the agents, SQL Server agents, et cetera, et cetera. All the main ones. I'm just gonna turn those on for you. I'm gonna open up my SQL Server now. My SQL Server 2022, and that's my management studio, SQL Management Studio, my SSMS. So the backup again is it's an option that's on a schedule. So when you run those site backups, it should automatically run those for you in the backend, right? So even if we start the service, there's no backup running, right? Um, that'll automatic. You'll see that status will change to running or pause or whatever state it will be when you see that scheduled backup happen, right? So that scheduled backup needs to happen um, within the SCCM console. It's option that needs to be turned on to verify that. And again, we can take a look at the site component management and start that server too, because that's also important. So the SMS portion of it should be all running. Again, backup doesn't have to be, right? And if we look at the properties, we could take a look at the dependencies and what the SMS site component management is dependent on. So these three options, network provider, and workstation. So those are important for that. We can also have the recovery, the log on. So recovery, failure, if it happens, we can change those, restart those, and enable actions with for stop errors on that. And then our login, we can check our login and this account and browse for through our Active Directory services. So browse, give it 1 second, and we can put our admin, our console admin, our CCM admin, and password. And in this case, it looks like it's our local system account, which allows the service to react. It's up to you how you want to set that up. I prefer either or, but networking is always good to do because you don't really want uh, a local account messing with these services, right? Um, I'll turn on the server browser, start that, and then the reporting services for reporting. I'm also going to start that too. Make sure that that's logged on. I think that's it for now, just to show you the ins and outs of that, and then take a look at our databases within our MECMPS. And again, the SQL server can be on a separate server. I just installed it on the primary site server for now, just for troubleshooting. Again, this can also be in the cloud. Um, There's just our monitoring tools. We can see the statuses again of that roll up. It looks like it's completed downloading, but it's not really installing it yet. Okay. I don't know. I might just have to again. I might just have to wait, reboot the machine, try it again, um, and go from there. No biggie. But you guys kind of get the gist of it. We can check the download logs for details. You'll see the uptime times change a little bit between what we've done now and what was done a couple months ago. Um, that's all enabled. That's all done through scheduling. I'm not going to force anything. Distribution points, right click, properties, properties, site system roles. I don't know. I'm getting old, guys. Cloud services. Configuration. Ah, there we go. Servers, and site system roles. So those are my roles. As you can see, these are the different roles and sorry, the roles that should be installed, and those roles are mandatory and or optional roles uh, due to specific things. And again, I could check the properties on our distribution point, and again, role description for each of those roles, and you guys can go ahead and read those roles on your own environments, or just pause and read the roles. Um, so all the roles are installed that are important. So, uh, you know, as part of troubleshooting, that's good. Um, I think I have another video on what each role is, and what they do and why they're there and why we install them. Um, Again, it's watch that video because that is important. Um, we also have, as part of updates and features, um, we have our summary shows our status as well too. And again, we should be able to install or download. It looks like it's ready to install, but there's no. I'm just gonna refresh it and see what happens. You can open up your log and read the log after, see what happens throughout the log. It's ready to, should be, yeah. So you'll notice that the install is ready. Install update pack is visible and not grayed out when you're able to install that. Okay. And features. Okay, so these are the different features, items, and feature types for pre-releases and releases, and they have their different statuses as on or off. And descriptions. I want you guys to pause or read this in your own environments and take a look at what each does. In this one, I want to turn on the BitLocker management. I think I want to do the BitLocker management. That's what I would just to show you guys. So we can manage drive encryption and turn those on. I don't have to turn on all of them. Um, I'm okay with that if there's any other projects that I need. And again, that pre-release for that task sequence, it allows us admins to install complex apps using our task manager. So this feature is replicated, turned on to all sites. After the process is complete, CM console will turn it on. So yeah, I want to turn it on. So I've now turned on BitLocker drive encryption. And that's it for now. I want to remove CAS. I don't want to remove CAS, so we'll leave it as is. I want to turn on VPN, proving. Um, we can also turn on the approved application request. That's totally up to you. It's a per users per device, so we can have user-based application requests. Right, so we can approve it for those devices. And there's a console extension. After turning on those services, we're now able to view that console extension download, which is what we did, and we can revoke, disable notifications, require extensions. Right, and we're going to require extension. I'm going to turn that on since it's on no. This little pop-up will explain that to us. Great, yes. Wait for that to roll out. And there we have. Those are different options there at the top toolbar. Just hit refresh a couple times and take a look at all the extra options that are there. Right. Set the security scopes. Take a look at the account summary for those web view 2 extensions. Again, without those extensions, you can't see any images like uh, graphs, bars, and stuff and whatnot. So that's very important. So again, now we're on our question period. As we're completing this, I just want you to please feel free to message me on WhatsApp. Again, WhatsApp. If you don't have it, download it at 1-647-987-1339. Again, it's +1-647-987-1339. Please feel free to message me. The plus there, the plus at the front. Okay. I want you guys to answer any questions that you might have. That might definitely help you uh, with this lab, or any questions you might have on this video lab regarding what we talked about. And again, or the assignment that I've put on for you guys. I want you guys to try that. Again, it's very important that you guys, you know, take the time out of your day to try it at least, right? Even if you have an environment at work, if not, learn to build one, right? I do train, and I have other videos that we can definitely talk about if you're interested. And again, when you do message me, tell me who you are, your location, what you like about this video, or what are long-term goals when using SCCM and ECM. Fix that for you guys. Sorry about that. Separate this here. First name and last name. Location. Um, what is your current tree location? What do you like about this video? And what are your long-term goals when using SCCM and ECM? Uh, so even questions about the assignment. So again, making sure that you have questions about this. And add snapshots into a Word document or as a PDF. You can also share your OneNote sheets with me. And my email is in production.inc2@gmail.com. Make sure, sorry guys, give me 1 second. In production, inc2 at gmail.com. Com. Okay. And 1% add. Also okay. A Word document or PDF version. Oops. Okay, it's fine. Good. Okay. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate your time. Again, seam trace services. These are specific tools that I used for troubleshooting. Right. RegEdit to troubleshoot, and also Microsoft Learn documentation. And that's for troubleshooting. Right. We talk about, and here's my MECM passed SCCM and cloud services integration back in 2017. Um, I was taken a while back. Um, okay. I'm just gonna fix this up a little bit for you guys. I want you guys to do the same thing. Copy or write down the notes. That way you have them and you're ready for when you're being asked these questions or you're troubleshooting again. So there's a Web 2 again extension. That's your console extension. That's important for like right clicking, for viewing charts, uh, anything that's important. Definitely um, helps you there. Um, so again, in this session, we work hard, learn more, and do lots of hands-on labs. So this is very, very important. And again, it's your choice to be either lazy or simply attend the class, or just do it yourself. It's you, that kind of person. Are you that kind of person? Being active and hardworking type. You need to understand what us, myself, the trainer, instructor, saying to you. We need 2 hours at least minimum. If you have more time, please go ahead. Like I don't mind that. Work on your home lab and SMS me, email me, send me screenshots so I'm able to help you as soon as I get time. Don't be shy. Ask simple questions. They're easy. All questions are merited. Doesn't matter what kind of question you have. Message me in the WhatsApp group. Ask me to repeat what you don't understand. Let me know if I'm going fast. Okay, so I also want you to make sure that you're not saying, "Oh, sir, I understand." Pretend that you understand everything, and just go home and, being busy and having too much time to study. You're too busy for that, and give again, set your guidelines, set your timeline, give yourself 2 hours a day. Okay, just highlight that for you, and that's it, I guess, for now. Again, I want to thank you all for coming. I hope this was informative. Um, I appreciate everybody's time. Again, these videos are all recorded for your purpose, right? You need a Gmail to watch these class videos because they are private. Some of these, I'll be creating a video of a class session, right, and the lab so that you can repeat the same thing at home during the week. It's up to you to do it. I want you guys to do it. I want you guys to showcase. Uh, yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks again. Appreciate your time. Have yourself a great week, and thanks for joining. Um, This is the SMS server. I'm just checking. Sorry, this is just a view, a system view. Um, Selecting the top 100 rows, looking for updates. I can filter those updates, right? Can filter and right, show you some filter SQL. Right? Just I can filter through a specific word and have those database object views, right, or tables, and this should contain what we're looking for. And then we can execute them and run them and change the specific database to something shorter, combine the two together, and so forth. And that's it, guys. Thanks again. I appreciate it. Love you all. Questions, please feel free to message me on WhatsApp. Okay, my number's there. Thanks again, guys. Have a good day. Bye.